98.1 FM and AM 1220.
It's 8:10 on this Wednesday. In studio, we have a guest artist, a local guest artist, Parker Rose. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
Parker, you are you make music. You are a songwriter. What instrument do you play?
Mainly acoustic guitar.
Acoustic guitar. We do have one of your songs, or a part of one of your songs, that I'd like to just play a couple seconds of, and then we can start talking.
Sure.
This is Waves of Fire, am I right?
Yes.
Waves of Fire, Parker Rose.
I watch you time and again. No ray of sunshine, but only you, my friend, are wishing life to change. You can be my holiday, and we'll go sailing on waves of fire to our own.
Now, is that, Parker, is that you doing vocals as well?
Yes.
And that's the acoustic guitar you're talking about.
Correct.
When you go up, do I hear falsetto? A little falsetto
Yes.
in there?
Yes.
Okay.
It had to be done.
That's, listen, the Bee Gees made a fortune.
All right.
Okay? With falsetto. Tell me a little bit about your background. You were from Valencia, or you just currently live in Valencia?
I lived in LA as a child for about 5 years, and then I moved out here about 7 or 8 years old.
Oh, okay. So basically here your whole life. What inspired you? There's always some kind of inspiration when I talk to local artists. Someone or something usually inspires them musically. Is that the case with you? Did something inspire you?
Well, for most of my life out here, I've been bullied and treated like less than a human being. So I turned to music to help numb my pain.
That's horrible. You mean when you were growing up in school, you were bullied as a child?
Yes,
And what kind of, do you understand, usually we know now, we've learned so much about bullying, that the bullying is usually the problem of the bully, not the bullyee. Mm-hmm. Did you understand that as a child?
Well, it felt very much like my problem. Even though it might have been their problem at that time, it was very much my problem.
And as a child, how did you deal with that?
Well, first, I listened to music, and I listened to artists like Frankie Valli and the Four Seasons and a lot of Motown, and it really brought me out of the gloom that I was in. And then from there, I listened to the Kinks, a lot of British invasion type stuff, and that influenced me to pick up the guitar and really start to write stuff. And before that, I was also writing a lot of poetry, so the poetry was already kind of written, so I just added, melodies from guitar that I was coming up with.
When did you start picking up the guitar to do this, and the songwriting?
In my teens, like 15, 16.
And were you still at that time, that's high school age, were you still at that time being bullied as well?
Yeah.
How did you deal with it, though? If someone would bully you, was it a specific thing they bullied, or they just didn't want you around and just felt that they needed to pick on you?
Well, I guess I'll just say they made fun of me because of my hair color.
Okay, so you've got a beautiful head of red hair.
It was redder then, so they made fun of me for that.
Awesome. That's terrible. Yeah. That's terrible, because you know how many of us we go to a bottle for that beautiful hair color. So it's a crazy thing to even think that would be enough to be bullied.
Then I learned years later it probably was out of jealousy. A lot of them were jealous. So
it can be so many different things. Bullying is I'm so glad they've shined a light on anti-bullying, and there are preventions and there's programs and all this kind of stuff. I'm so glad, but unfortunately, in your case, it probably came a little too late, and you turned to music to deal with it yourself. Mm-hmm. Did it help?
It did.
Even at a young age,
it allowed me to write my thoughts down on paper, which is what any psychiatrist would tell anybody to do. And from that, I happened to be doing something I really enjoyed doing as well. It wasn't just an exercise and, what your psychiatrist would tell you to do. It was something I really enjoyed. And I collect music too, so it's a hobby as well.
What kind of music do you collect?
Oh gosh.
You mean like albums, like
CDs?
vinyl?
CDs.
Uh-huh.
I didn't get into the vinyl thing, but now vinyl's more popular than ever. But I mean, I just got in. Like I like to find obscure nuggets. Like Elton John released a psychedelic album in the '60s, which was never released, and I just found out about that. So that was like exciting to me. That's new music, even though it came out in 1968, but it wasn't released until just recently. So to me, it's new music, but it's great new music. To find like those obscure things that you never knew existed.
Absolutely. How did your parents deal with all this?
Oh, I mean, they tried to talk to some of the parents of the people that did that to me, and it helped a little here and there. But I mean, they still found ways around, and luckily I was smart enough not to fall for certain things. Otherwise, I probably wouldn't be sitting here today in front of you, because there were a lot of them who threatened my life.
It sounds like it was a dark time.
Yes.
But you made it through.
Yes.
And now you are thriving.
Yes.
And now you have some beautiful music that you are sharing with the community. You sent us a link. I know you have a website. What is the website?
parkerrose.reverbnation.com.
Okay, so it's Parker. If we Google Parker Rose, will that link come up?
It should come up.
Okay, Parker Rose, because that's a great name. Is that your given name?
It's a stage name.
Uh-huh.
Basically, I learned about Rosa Parks in school, so I was influenced by how strong she was in a dark time, and I could relate. So I reversed her name, and I came up with my own name out of hers.
What a great story. I love it. Parker Rose. And now it's so easy for us to remember. Go to Google Parker Rose, find the link. You do have a SoundCloud
Yes.
account, and that's where we got that beautiful song from. If you want to hear it in its entirety, if you want to hear some of his other music, go there. Give us the website one more time.
parkerrose.reverbnation.com.
And you're looking, we were talking off air before the interview, and you're looking currently for a bass
player and drummer.
Bass player and drummer. And if you know of a bass player or drummer, and I think I might know of a drummer, but if you know and you want to get in touch with Parker Rose, what's the best way to do that? Through the website?
Through the website. My email's right on there.
Fantastic. Parker Rose, it's been a pleasure. Thank
you
you for sharing your story and your music with us here in the Santa Clarita Valley. We wish you the best.
Thank you very much.
I'm Susan Owen, manager.